genuinely want to spread the word, and that's the key. You just want to
Yes.
provide value as much as possible, but also just spread the word, man, because
Mm-hmm.
that's basically it. Because eventually the right person is gonna hear what you're doing and like, oh yeah, like this is exactly what I'm looking for. Oh my god, this is perfect. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so glad this kind of just fell in my lap, right?
Yeah.
But the only way that's gonna happen is if you start telling people. The only way it's
Yeah.
gonna happen is people know about you and this whole thing, right? So
Welcome everyone to the Ludus Brand podcast. We have Jack Sorenson with Sorenson Fit here with us. Jack is a coach. He's been scaling for the past couple months. His coaching journey's been longer than that. Jack, welcome. How are you today?
good, man. I'm doing good.
Awesome, awesome. Jack, so how'd you get into your coaching?
Yeah, man. So I've been coaching for about, I want to say 2.5 years now. And 2 of those years, it was kind of like a side hustle thing I was just doing. I was a full-time engineer. I was working in the automotive industry. I studied engineering in college. I was originally in Massachusetts. I shifted over to Michigan to be in the automotive industry, whatever. You don't need to know about that stuff. But it was my side hustle. Like I got really into health and stuff in college, end of my college years. So started coaching kind of on the side, got certified. Never really played around with coaching in person, but I was just always coaching people online. Coaching almost for free for those like first 2 years, basically
Mm-hmm.
making no money at all, covering groceries for 1 week, like very,
Mm-hmm.
very little amount of money. And then just in October of 2023, I actually got laid off from one of my engineering job. So then I was kind of, given the decision of do I continue to go that route or I just go full time with the online coaching and just see what happens. And the worst thing that could happen is essentially I would just go back to my engineering role. And so that was 6 or 7 months ago now. And safe to say it's been working out pretty good. Been getting a lot of clients per month, almost at around 30 now, give or take, around 30 clients,
Wow.
and more or less replaced my engineering income, which is pretty freaking wild to say the least in 6 months. So, yeah, man, it's been going solid. It's been quite a journey these last 6 months. A lot of learning, a lot of things are flying at me, but it's been good. It's been good.
Dude, that is amazing. And I know
Yeah.
we've been working, together and doing all of that stuff. So I'm really curious about your coaching techniques. So you went from a full-time W-2 to now you are fully self-sustained in your coaching. What did that process look like? What, I know there's a lot of discussion of offers and, all of that. What was your target client? Who are you coaching for? And, how did you get to a point where your coaching, you could essentially sell them on, taking on your coaching versus anybody else's coaching?
So I think a lot of it stems from I coached for literally nothing for
Hmm.
for 2 years essentially. So I got a lot of experience this way. I had testimonials ready to rip. So like for coaches that are just starting out, expecting to charge a lot of money or charge money like really any money at all is very difficult unless you have testimonials to say for it. You can have all the education in the world, you can say that you can be certified, all this stuff, but if you cannot visually show people that you have given other people results, not just yourself, it's really hard to basically sell someone to be coached by you essentially, right?
Hmm.
So I think those 2 years definitely kind of shaped of like what I really enjoyed and like what I how I should coach essentially. Okay, so
Hmm.
during that time, I was coaching people that are either straight out of college, kind of people just like me, my age. But what I was noticing during that time is I was always around engineers, I was always around high performers, I was getting into real estate, so I was meeting a lot of people that were very, very busy, and these folks were asking me for tips. And so I was realizing how sought after these just habits that I was creating and like my methods were just because like these people kept coming to me and I wasn't gonna ask them to be my client or whatever, but I was just always
Hmm.
giving tips as much as I humanly possibly could. Um, and so kind of when I had to go full time with this, I was realizing that my cup of tea, my person, my avatar is more or less that busy individual, that like working professional that just feels like they cannot get to the gym. I was an
Hmm.
engineer, so I resonate heavily with that, and it helps because I can say like I was in the 9 to 5, I was working 60-hour work weeks, and like I had no energy at all. I get it, like I get that. So like that kind of resulted in me kind of having that avatar. So then how do you convince them to quote unquote sell them or something? First off, I hate that. I hate the whole selling thing. It's more built on relationships and providing as much value as it can up front. So it's like I provide value in all shapes or form. Like even when we're on the phone call, if I'm just like talking to someone that's interested, like I'm providing value on the phone call. I'm telling
Mhm.
them some of my secrets, quote unquote secrets, but like I'm telling them a lot of information off the rip and giving them value up front because honestly, I'd rather them just get something out of the call than nothing rather than me just trying to quote unquote sell them, right? Want to build
Of
up some
course.
trust. And then honestly, just like having as much testimonials and as much reviews as I humanly possibly can so they can kind of visualize what they could potentially be like and using those testimonials as examples to show them, hey, like this person's like you, they have a similar schedule like you, and this is what they've been able to pull off with these methods and all that stuff. So like you kind of just lay the groundwork and make it so it's more relatable rather than just
Mhm.
say, so you're gonna get this, this, and this, and this, and this is how this is transformation. It's like no, like well, what's the point that they can relate on?
Mhm.
So that's kind of like the big thing is like they need to be able to visually see themselves in 6 or 7 months or whatever in a spot. So you have to definitely have a person that they can relate to. So I use my clients to do that. My goodness, that kind of was a ramble on, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
more
and
or less that's it, dude. I know it's kind of a handful to talk about, but
yeah,
yeah,
no, that's awesome. And I think one of the most important call outs that I was hearing was the fact that, aside from everything else, the stats, the metrics, all of that, the person that you are working with, you need to show them, and you're kind of, you are their guiding light, right?
right.
They hired you for a reason, that they want to achieve this thing, and maybe they just need a little bit of redirection. Maybe they need someone just next to them on their shoulder, walking them through what these
Hmm.
new changes in their processes are like, so that they can get to their desired outcome in life, right?
Right.
Whether that is, for any type of coaching, whether that's strength athletes, whether that's bodybuilding athletes, whether that's just a life change coach where, they just want to get healthy. Um,
Right.
I thought that was a very interesting point, is it's not about the metrics, it's about the person, and each person is going to require different coaching based off of, their entire situation, their entire background.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what got you started in fitness as a whole? What was the thing that started you off, that brought you to where you are today?
Yeah. I mean, my story is I was a. I'm just gonna go all the way back. We're going all the way back,
Perfect. Yeah.
all the way back. So growing up, I was a three-sport athlete. I played hockey, soccer, baseball, so I was an active freak. I was
Wow.
always playing some sort of sport all year round, so, and then in the summer I was playing all three at once. Most of the time in fall I was playing two. It was just sports were my life. But because of this, I was always quote unquote in shape. I never lifted a weight in my life up until college,
Mhm.
but that was kept me in shape, and I was blessed with some athleticism, and so I just was able to do pretty well. But that's what kept me quote unquote in shape. I was eating like absolute dog shit. Not, and my mom is a chef, so she cooked for taste
Mhm.
and not necessarily for proper nutrition and stuff, which is
Got it.
fine. It's not like it's her fault. It's like she's a chef. Chefs cook for taste. They want to make sure people are
Mhm.
happy with what they eat, right? So that's kind of how it was. So I ended up playing college baseball. I had the opportunity to play either college soccer or college baseball, and I went with baseball because it was at this school, an engineering school. So I'm like, this is the way to go. I want to be an engineer. This is what I should be doing because I was kind of like, I'm a car guy. I've always been into cars, so it's like that's what
Mhm.
I thought my path was, right?
Mhm.
But then, of course, I chose the most like non-cardio sport possible, right? I chose a sport that like very, very sedentary, not a lot of movement. So then, of course, I started putting on weight pretty quickly. You know how college is. So yes, freshman 15 came on.
Mhm.
Um, and then I ended up actually quitting baseball because it was just not for me. Coach
Mhm.
was expecting a lot with engineering school and everything. So then sophomore year came along, and I guess the next best thing after playing a sport is to join a fraternity.
Mhm.
It's just
Yep.
yeah, right, dude. So
That's what I did.
yeah, right. It's like next best thing, dude. Join a frat and drink your life away. So
Yeah.
it's So I ended up doing that, and then I picked up. It was the rugby wrestling frat.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, a bunch of crazy mofo's. It was a good time, but I totally put on a lot of weight that year. So
Hmm.
first year out of into college, I put on like 10, 15 pounds. Second year, I put on 50, 60 pounds. So like 50, 60 pounds in 1 year is no joke.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, dude, I don't even remember you being that big. I'm like, yeah, because like I have family saying that, whatever. I'm like, yeah, but it was literally 1 year. It was
Hmm.
1 year, sophomore year, all of that. I put on all the weight, and then at the end of sophomore year, I started like into junior year summer, I started like actually caring about my health a little bit. So it's like people
Hmm.
like didn't even see that happen. So when I tell people like that I gained 60 pounds, I went from 145 to 210 in the span from freshman year to sophomore year. They're like, what? No
Yeah.
way. So, yeah, so I had this just big revelation of just like, holy crap, dude, I put on a lot of weight. Like, I went from being like super active, this super crazy athlete, to nothing. Like, I was getting like winded super easily, just like couldn't do what I used to, felt
Hmm.
slow, felt sluggish, not happy with my body. Then like just some breakup shit, some girl stuff,
Got it.
and I was just
Villain
chasing.
arc, baby.
Yeah, the villain arc, you get it. You have the shirt, you know how it is. But but honestly, dude, it's like my entire life I was always chasing what someone was telling me was the right decision. So like
Yeah.
sports was just like my family's thing. They told me this was what you should be doing. Sports, sports, sports. Do it, do it, do it. Fantastic. Like that's the route to go. You're gonna be an engineer, so that's why I went to engineering school. But
Hmm.
like growing up, dude, I was a big music head. I played guitar like a mofo, and I was a skateboarder, so I was a big
Hmm.
adrenaline junkie. But I
Nice.
lost that because of sports. So like I kind of was just like told that sports is the way. So I'm like, okay. I was
Hmm.
told engineering is the way. Okay. So then here comes the end of sophomore year, and I'm starting to realize like this, holy crap! Like for years I have not done a single thing for myself
Hmm.
ever. Like for so long. So then junior year I started just starting training, but dude, like bullshit, like no clue what working out is, no clue what anything is, didn't know about protein, just was like working out, whatever.
Hmm.
And then it wasn't until I actually studied abroad my junior year, and that's when I had a big like gym like heavy time period because I was extremely homesick, like really bad. To the point where I trapped myself at the gym for 4 hours and I just figured it
Wow.
out. So I'd run a mile to the gym, work out for like 3.5 hours, then run a mile back. Like I was
Hmm.
obsessed. Like I would do like an hour and a half of training. Like I had no clue what I was doing, and then I would run back. So of course I lost weight. So that was
Hmm.
great. And so after that, I put it all back on though. So I lost like 25 pounds while I was there, 30
Hmm.
pounds, and then I put on like 15, 20 because obviously that was unsustainable. So then, of course, now it's like COVID year. Great,
Yep.
fantastic, awesome. This is when it starts coming. And a lot of people have different views of what that year was for them. Some people took it very like, I just can't do anything. I can't get myself to do anything. It was a very hard year. I was the
Hmm.
polar opposite. I did an absolute shit ton. My buddy had a home gym and we just went crazy. And like I got in the like I lost all of the weight. I was back down to 145, but I was ripped. I was shredded. Like I put on some muscle. Um, and then senior year came around, and like that's when I just was like full tilt. Like fitness, health was my shit. Like my shit. I went fully sober senior year, and I was like, this is my that was it. Like I was like, we're digging into this. So then
Awesome.
I got obsessed, like obsessed with learning, obsessed with training, obsessed with protein intake. I learned about calories, all that jazz. And of course, I'm in a fraternity, so this was an
Hmm.
interesting year, right?
Yeah.
Right, you can imagine. And then, so my goodness, January of senior year. This is like a whole different. This is a big story. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
We're almost there. I promise, almost there. So, for some reason, a person that I knew he has competed before. He's like, dude, you're looking nuts. You should compete. I'm like, yeah, dude, sure, let's do it. So I just like decided to put myself through a prep. And it was brutal as hell, and I'm never doing it again. But it was great. I looked crazy
Yeah.
good. But then because of this, because I competed, because I went through this crazy transformation, people started asking. This is kind of like, how did you get into coaching? It's like people just started asking Jack, like, how the hell did you do this? Because you
Yeah.
were thin, then you were fat, and then you're ripped.
Yeah.
make sense, dude. Like, what happened, So I would just start telling people, and I would give them my advice, and of course, like, this is just me, so like I only know what works for me, but like I started just telling people, and things were working with some people, and I was like, oh, this is no way, like people are getting actual value out of what I'm telling them. So then after my senior year, I started actually coaching some people for free, like Google Docs, Google Sheets, writing programs, just like total, just baseline coaching. But I was doing something. So then I moved to Michigan straight out of college. So then over there, I got certified, and so then I just started quote unquote coaching. And at this point, I had an Instagram. I started posting about that, just like my progress and all that stuff, and different videos and all that shenanigans. So that's kind of what happened is like I just started helping people just because I went under this journey. People just started asking me, and I just loved it. I just like gained this like massive passion for just like people seeing the differences and seeing the progress and seeing the results. Like I got addicted to it. Like I just
Hmm.
love seeing people flourish and see that there's it's not as hard as it really seems, and see that they're unlocking this body they've always wanted, and just like that. I don't know. It just feels good. I went through it, and I feel amazing, and I'm always positive. I'm this. Like I just want people to feel what I'm feeling. Like that's my biggest thing. It's like I just want people to feel this energy, and that's kind of how my coaching works. Is like I'm a hype man. I'm positive as all hell, and I just want people to like feed off my energy into their life so then they can get excited about their health and fitness journey, because it is obviously a very exciting topic.
Hmm.
So then yeah, like I was in Michigan, just started coaching on the side, and it kind of slowly grew. Put some systems in place. I actually ended up going on to an app called Trainerize for a bit. Well, that's
Hmm.
what I was used right now. But I was on Trainerize, and initially I was losing money every month. Like I wasn't
Hmm.
charging anything, but I'm like, this is so cool. Holy crap! Like my clients are on this app. Like I'm losing like
Yeah.
40, $50 a month, but this is the coolest thing ever that I have like an app. This is sick. So
Hmm.
I didn't care. And then people started saying, Jack, you're doing too much work for me to give this for free. And I'm like,
Hmm.
how much can I charge? And I don't know, I started
Yeah.
charging 20, 30, 40, $50. Eventually it got up to like 100 a little bit. And I was like, cool, this is amazing. But it was never really going to be like a employment replacement type deal. So then here we go, 2 years of being in Michigan, start working on it more. I actually ended up getting a rental property during this time period. So then I kind of took a back seat, but then boom, like literally all of a sudden we're back at last year. And, I got like I was working as an engineer, and I was around people always like asking for help and stuff. And so then when I got laid off, I kind of knew who to go to, because I'm like, these people need my help, and they're actively asking for help, but like they don't have anybody. They have no one they
Hmm.
can relate to. But like I'm an engineer at heart, like I'm a very big numbers guy. Like I understand they're analytical, and like so that's kind of like what kind of stemmed is like now all of my clients are more or less just like a hard working professional who just are in these certain like fields that just don't have enough time. So then yeah,
Hmm.
full circle, dude. So we went fitness journey, and now we're coaching, and now it's like it's been crazy. It's been a wild ride. But I know that's a lot of talking. That's like, holy shit, you just spoke so much in about
No,
20,
dude, but
15.
I think anybody listening to this call, who's looking at, starting their journey on coaching, maybe they just got in the gym themselves, I think will really resonate with that story, and it shows you really all you gotta do is you gotta put your mind to it, and you gotta do it. But one of the things that really hit with me when you were talking was that not only the gym is where it all starts. I think we can all agree on that. And then from there we get better, right? But it's also important to remember that there's other people who might not have, that one buddy. Like I had a buddy who really got me into lifting, right? And he was, my roommate in college, and he was the one who was like showing me like, dude, all you got to do is do this. All you got to do is do this. And really it gets into the number one piece is just showing up, right? And so if you have someone, right there next to you,
Yeah.
showing you, hey, like just show up, do this, being able to answer those questions to just show that, hey, this is something that can literally change someone's life. And then from there, you don't know what other lives they are going to impact. So looking at coaching, I see it as one of the most honorable things you can do, because you are directly impacting someone else's health
Hmm.
for the better. That is amazing. That's an amazing concept and an amazing idea. Awesome. So you went to college, you kind of had that that experience of you were a little big, then you were really small, and then you hit your competition. Um, how was the competition? Tell me about that, because I think there's some people maybe they're considering competing.
Ooh.
How was that competition prep looking like?
So I definitely didn't do it the right way, in the sense that like I did not have enough muscle in my frame.
Mm,
Granted, I did really good. I I got second overall. This is a natural show, by the way, for anyone that's wondering. Like I was not juiced out of my gills. I wasn't on
yeah.
stuff. So it's like this is a natty show. Everybody's kind of small. Okay,
hmm
everybody's not as diced and shredded to the gills as a NPC show.
hmm
But I did well. I got second overall, and then I got first in my class. So like it was definitely a really good experience, and I learned a lot about myself and what I'm able to do, like dig deep. But definitely, if you're looking to get into it, make sure you get a proper coach. Not like I'm not sure if my coach will ever listen to this or not. Like we don't keep in touch,
hmm
so I'm not sure. But we didn't do the greatest job with my prep. We definitely peaked a little bit too early. I was definitely too low of calories, too, or like 4 weeks out, and so then those last 4 weeks were living hell. And I should have probably eaten up into the show and then come back down, because I was show ready 4 weeks out, like easy
hmm
money, especially from a natural standpoint. And
hmm
I 100% lost a bunch of size in those last four. And as a natural, it's very hard to put on size in the first place, and then just like to retain it is just as hard. So it's just kind of shitty. But I guess get a real coach. And oh, here's the number one thing: get a posing coach. If you actually are trying to compete, get a posing coach. Because if you do not know how to show off your body properly on stage, I don't care how good you look, you'll look like a fool.
hmm
Like I shit you not. Like I placed higher than people bigger than me and more shredded than me solely because I knew how to pose because I went to a posing coach. So,
Dude,
um,
posing's hard, man. I'm a power lifter at heart and by trade,
yeah,
and
you
I
mofos,
yeah,
dude.
I try to
You
do
guys
some
don't even know how to throw
poses.
a double back. You're just like
Dude,
this,
yeah,
dude. You're
man.
like, how do
And
I even do it? You don't know how
I
to
have
flare out and boom.
exactly, dude. And like I never
Yeah.
realized how much went into posing until I
Posing is
started trying to pose. And
Dude, it's hard and it sucks. It's very difficult. And when you're that depleted, when you're getting closer and closer to the show, like the posing session by itself is draining and it's a
yeah.
workout. Like you can't even hold a pose for longer than like 10
Oh yeah.
seconds or you're gonna pass the fuck out. Like I shit you not. Like I mean, prep's no joke. It's definitely harder on natural folks just because you have nothing helping you kind of get through certain things.
hmm
You're really deficient in micronutrients and you're shutting yourself down severely. Your hormones. Natural bodybuilding is not healthy. Bodybuilding is
hmm
not healthy at all.
hmm
In reality, like bodybuilding preps, but natural bodybuilding specifically is like you have nothing to bring your levels back up. So when you shut
hmm
yourself down for these shows, like you do put yourself in a hole. You really do.
Yeah.
And post show, I suffered from severe low testosterone, like really bad. Like couldn't get a boner for months. Couldn't
Yeah.
no libido. Um, Shutting down, like shit, like falling asleep,
Wow.
like couldn't like by 2 p.m. every day. Like it was really hard. So just be cautious. Just be
Wow.
cautious. Granted, I genetically I have low T, and I didn't know this until after the show. Like my dad's like, "Oh, I've had low T for years." I'm like, "Oh, thanks for telling me that, dude. I really appreciate it. That would have been cool. That
Yeah.
would have been cool to know. Because I look back into my college years, I'm like, well, I did always kind of get tired around 2 p.m. every
Mm.
day. Like I wonder what that was. But yeah, so like I've genetically had low T, and then my show put me off the freaking edge, and so like it was very hard to come back from that. So my diet and supplements and stuff to get back up was quite a grind. It took me I mean that show was in 2021, so it's taken me 3 years to like genuinely feel like significantly better. Like
Wow, dude.
because last year like it was significant, it was getting better each year, and then end of 2023 to this year I've been feeling so much better, but it took that long of like getting back into a surplus and
hmm
like eating enough fats to like actually bring my hormones back up, solely because like a natural person it is just difficult. It is
Wow.
genuinely difficult. Yeah, it was hard, man.
I think that could be a
Yeah.
whole that whole process could be a podcast in itself.
Oh, easy, dude. Easily, man. Yeah,
uh,
it's a loaded subject for sure.
Yeah,
But
hey, we'll get into it one of these days. One of the things that I want to make sure we steer the conversation towards for anybody listening and anybody specifically who's looking to scale their coaching, I want to start getting into that piece, Jack. So for your coaching, what brought you today? Obviously there was a hurdle between quitting the W-2 and getting into coaching. How long have you been professionally and officially coaching?
I've been coaching for 2.5 years, but
Yes,
I've
but
been
like
like full
without the
time.
W-2.
Yeah, full time 6 months.
6 months. Okay, awesome. So, and that's perfect because now we can show what this process could look like for them. So, could you walk me through, how was that? What were the hurdles that you experienced? How did you get it to scale? And what does that scale look like today? And where are you going with that?
Yeah. So like I said before, it's very important to have a base of foundation. So honestly, if I did not have those 2 years under my belt, if I did not have those testimonials already, if I did not have the app already set up, I would not have gone full time. So do
Hmm.
not, I repeat, do not try to do this full time on a whim and think it's going to work out, because you're going to be very disappointed.
Hmm.
Very, very disappointed. You need to shoot yourself in the foot, because you cannot out of the gate start charging people $200 to $300 to $400 a month. It's just not
Hmm.
happening. So first off, get coach people for free. Like I shit you not, coach as many people as you can for free. Offer your help. Get the results. Get some feedback. Get some testimonials, like real, like before and afters. That is actually key. So it's going to take some time. So do it on the side of whatever you're doing. But it's very, very, very important that you do that. I mean, that's really like anything with any sort of business, is you need to have a track record of honestly doing things for very little money to then
Hmm.
prove that you can actually do the said thing that you're trying to do.
So,
Yeah.
with the getting it for free, not only are you're showing the clients that you want to add value to them, but that also there's a lot of learning curves that go through working with those free
Oh
clients.
yeah. I mean, you're figuring out your whole base and how things work. And if you're not someone that's like has done this before, a person like seeing someone else get results, I mean, dude, it's a little bit of trial and error, and you probably
Hmm.
should tell them, say, listen, you're one of my first clients. Like we're gonna do my best to make sure we get you results, right?
Hmm.
But like, they're not paying, and you're not an expert, so like,
Yeah,
it's a trial and error of finding out what works. Like the way I coached at the beginning is very, very, very different than what I did now. I mean, at the beginning, I was fresh out of a bodybuilding show. I understood calorie deficits and all that stuff. Then I just say, lose weight, get them on a calorie deficit. But guess what? If they're already eating no food at all, you can't just throw them on a calorie deficit.
hmm,
You just can't. You need to get them to eat food. They're going to go through a period of eating more food and understanding proper protein intake and caloric intake and all that stuff before you can
hmm,
get them in a deficit again. So it's just things
absolutely.
change. Things change. So you got to definitely go through that trial period of just like being bad at your fucking whatever you're doing. Like you're gonna be
Hmm.
bad at what you're doing, and that's okay. So a lot of trial and errors for sure at the beginning.
Awesome. So
But
we
yeah,
so we have the free trials. We're getting the testimonials on the
yeah.
page. Uh, what's next? How does that look?
Now it's like, okay, how the hell do I get in front of people? So you need to do it in some way, shape, or form. Whether that's some DMing, whether that's some outreach. So what I did is I reached out to my warm networks. That's literally everyone under the sun that's either following you already, your friends, your family, Facebook friends, all that stuff. I basically went down my list and messaged, I think it was over 500 people, of people that are just in my network saying, hey, I'm trying this thing. I wasn't even telling them specifically that I want them to be coached by me. I said, "Hey, I'm trying this thing. Do you by any chance know anyone that would be interested?" And so
Oh.
I would try to make this conversational too. Like I wouldn't just like full on straight copy and paste it. Like I would introduce what I'm trying to do, like relate to them in some way of like, dude, it's been so long since high school. Like I hope you've been well. But look, this is what I'm getting into. Do you know anybody that might be interested? Right. So then that kind of leaped, and I got like my first two or three like high ticket clients since the start of that. Then also, I mean, I'm in a group with Trevor. So we're in a group together called Action Academy. And so being in a group of other like-minded people, a lot of people have these health goals. And so at the point in time of me going full time, I just put it out there that, guys, I'm doing this full time. This is the deal. And so some people would genuinely just like, okay, let's do it. And I had a
Hmm.
track record, so I was able to charge a little bit for it. Of course,
Hmm.
I gave them a discount, but still, it's like that's kind of what got me off the ground. And honestly, it's just tell everyone you're doing it,
Yeah.
because if you want to do this full time, everyone's got to know that you're doing it already. Everyone,
Hmm.
you need to be the guy, you need or girl, you need to be the person. So that's your first move, right? Is just
Hmm.
like tell the freaking world that you're doing this, and then show them what they could potentially achieve, and
Hmm.
then that's kind of what got me off the ground, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so you're talking to these people. I love the call out of saying, "Hey, would you know anybody who might be interested in this?"
yeah. It's not
Because
directed at them. You don't want it to make it about them. It's not a sales thing, dude. It's like you genuinely want to spread the word, and that's the key. You just want to
yes.
provide value as much as possible, but also just spread the word, man, because
Hmm.
that's basically it. Because eventually the right person is gonna hear what you're doing and like, oh yeah, like this is exactly what I'm looking for. Oh my god, this is perfect. I'm
Hmm.
so glad this kind of just fell on my lap, right?
Yeah.
But the only way that's gonna happen is if you start telling people. The only way it's
Yeah.
gonna happen is people know about you and this whole thing, right? So
Exactly. And then the other piece that I really liked was, with Action Academy. First off, guys, if you're an entrepreneur, join Action Academy. You're just
uh-huh.
gonna check the box. Like that is just
It's got
amazing.
everything for
Like
you.
I love it. Brian, shout out. The interesting piece of the Action Academy was these are like-minded individuals, right? And so with your engineering background, I know some guys in there are engineers as well, but
Yeah.
you're able to relate on a different level. And there's a lot of areas in life that some people put more energy into. So a lot of people, they put energy into their jobs, but then they sacrifice their health along the way.
Hmm.
And so that's where the coach falls in, where maybe my mind is, oh my god, I need to build my business, oh my god, I need to do this. But in the process of whatever that business is and what that build out, I'm sacrificing my health, and I need my coach to help me keep accountable, so that I'm making sure that I'm hitting those metrics daily and those tasks daily,
Yeah.
so that I can achieve my optimal self, and not let that fall too far off the way, because you can't run a business if you're in a hospital bed, right?
Very
And
true.
that's just gonna, then your business fails, and what did you do it all for, right? So
Hmm.
you need to make sure that you're having all of these ducks in a row, and you're hitting them on. And so that's another importance of just being a coach and having a coach, based off of your experience for your coaches. So you got clients on, I think you said you had about 30 clients.
Yeah. Give or take around
What
30 now.
does so going behind the scenes of your onboarding process, what do these conversations look like? Any frequencies with customers? What does the entire coaching package look like that you have?
So after the sales call, after we commit whatever, I get right into what's called an onboarding call. So I'll have a form they fill out, where they tell me absolutely everything. The form covers everything from injuries to experience levels with cardio and working out in the gym, what you're currently eating, what your favorite foods, all that jazz. So I just go into everything. And then we have basically a 45-minute call, one on one, shooting the shit, talking, figuring out how we can make this plan perfect for them, because the goal is to make this a plan that's catered to them, their goals, their lifestyle, their
Hmm.
schedule, not just some universal thing that you copy and paste. It's just not
Yes,
going to happen.
something that's going to work for
Yeah,
them.
and that's honestly something that I think a lot of people, a lot of coaches do, is this is like they'll copy and paste some program to other people and say, "Hey, do this." But dude, like if that's not their time frame in the gym, if they can only got 30, 45 minutes max, like I'm just not going to give them an hour and a half long program.
Hmm.
And then tell them only do half. No, like
Hmm.
dude, just make them a program that's good for them and targets the things that they want to do. So yeah, so kind of start off with the onboarding call, and then after the onboarding call, we'll get loaded onto the app. And so after that, basically within a week, week and a half, I'll get them their training program, nutrition stuff, all that jazz. So they get the training programs, like I said, cater to them. So, I try to make sure that it's as sustainable as humanly possible and attainable. So it's like if you give them something that they're not able to hit consistently, it's one going to hurt them mentally, but two, it's like they're never going to get to the results they want. Versus you make something that is at the beginning very attainable, they're going to get all fired up because they're continuously crushing it, and then you can slowly ease into things that are more sustainable, like up the ante with volume of different workouts or whatever it may be. But
Hmm.
it's very person basis, because like I have some people that like literally have like twins, grow in a real estate business, have like 30 minutes out of their day, and I'm like, this is what you're doing. We're gonna make the most efficient 30 minutes ever, and you're gonna get in, get out every single day, and that's what you're gonna do. And I have some
Hmm.
clients that are getting results just from that alone. So it's very person to person. But after that, we get them onto the app, get them into the community. I have a community on the app that basically people just like keep the energy high. You know, Trainer Eyes is very powerful. If you
Hmm.
don't use it, I highly recommend it. I'm not like an affiliate or anything. It's
Hmm.
just like probably one of the better ones out there. There's a couple others, but I've heard good things like in comparison.
Hmm.
So that's what I use. So then training program, the nutrition program is like so. And I tell them like when they tell me like their food and stuff, I'll make their recipes, nutrition guide, all that stuff. Give them a ton of information. But I mean, yeah. So that's basically what it is. And then it's just honestly my bread and butter of my coaching is the accountability and the energy.
Hmm.
Because without that, you have nothing. Honestly, if you're not keeping them accountable, they're going to easily fall off because they
Hmm.
can't keep themselves accountable. They can't keep themselves accountable. That's why they're going to you. That is
Exactly.
right. They need the implementation. That's what they're paying for. So,
Yes.
like, that is numero uno. So finding a way to stay on top of them without also taking a ton of your time away. Because I mean, I have 30 clients that I got to deal with. It's very hard to manage them constantly if I'm always like if I'm checking in with them 24/7. So it's like we got to find the good balance. So find your balance and what's ever good for you. But I check in with them once a week in some shape or form. Once a video check in, once a call check in. I also pay for the energy, man, because I'm just their hype man. I'm their positive light. They're coming to be to have that energy and feed off me rather than like there's a lot of coaches that are just very like do this or you suck or you know come on like they're just not the right type of motivation.
Yes.
It's kind of the negative motivation where they like you shit on them or you're hard on them and then that you expect them to come up versus eventually they're going to come down versus if you just keep building them up and you be their hype man, sky's the limit for them, man. Like I don't have a single client that's not satisfied. So
Exactly.
everybody's
And
super stoked. Everyone's getting results left and right. It's fucking awesome, and everyone's just hype all the time. It's a good time,
yeah,
you know. So that's the whole point of it. So that's more or less the bread and butter, man. And so the accountability is everything. The implementation is everything. Keeping the energy super positive, and yeah, and just making it like a very sustainable program. I think is absolutely key. So.
I really like how you called out keeping the energy high because one thing that if anybody's heard about this, but people aren't going to remember, when you look back on your life or anybody looks back on their life, people aren't going to remember, the things that you did like on the day to day. They're not going to remember all of that. People are going to remember how you made them feel, right? And they're
Yes,
going to associate that
it's gonna
feeling
imprint on them. Yeah.
down the line. So if you're a coach, of course you would want to have a positive impact on those person's lives, right? And those people, it could be maybe you're not even coaching them anymore. Maybe it's 10 years down the line, but then they think, wow, Coach Jack really made me feel good. And that was one of the top times in my life when I was
Mhm.
feeling good. I'm going to get back on the wagon. I'm going to get back on this grind. And, maybe they fell off for 10 years. Maybe their job took priority. But then
I wouldn't let
you,
them.
yeah,
If
exactly.
they're with me, they ain't falling off, dude. No problem.
but, but, like, that's a really really cool concept that you may not even be in the picture in these people's lives 10 years down the line and still having that impact
Yeah.
to them is just
I
crazy.
mean, just think about like coaches you've had in your youth, or even a teacher you've had at some point in time. If they were awesome and you resonated with them and you connected with them and they impacted you in some way, you will forever remember them as that individual. So it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, I want to be that person for them. I want to be the person that shows them the light, shows them that this is a lot easier than they think, and in a very positive way. So
Hmm.
then, they take it for life. I mean, that's kind of whole. I'm the life change coach, right? Like that's not really a thing, right? Like hear about like you just hear about weight loss coach, fat loss coach, lifestyle coach. But like when I say life change coach, like my goal is to literally change your life. Like I
Yes.
simply in my programs are 6 months long. I want by the end of it, like one, you don't need me anymore. The goal is that you're good to go for the rest of your life. But like you just have created these new habits that you will take for the rest of your life, and you'll be healthy forever
Hmm.
just because of these things that I've told you. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
And then yeah, one other call out and then we can start wrapping this up, but
Yeah, yeah.
I know that you have a guarantee.
It's a simple guarantee. And honestly, dude, like that's not even the selling point of my
Hmm.
coaching. But it's always good to have one. So it's like at the end of the 6 months, if you're not truly happy with what you look like or feel like you stare yourself in the mirror and you're just not happy with what you're seeing, which is probably impossible.
Hmm.
To be honest, it's not going to happen. But if for some reason they feel that way, right? Like
Hmm.
they are not happy, they're going to work
Hmm.
with me for free until they do. So, I mean,
Wow.
someone could take advantage of that, yeah. But honestly, like, it's like the goal is to just develop such a good relationship with them and crush it with them that it doesn't
Mhm.
even get to that point. But I guess like it's a reassurance thing for them where they just
Mhm.
think to themselves when they commit to working with me that like they know they're getting to where they want to go.
Mhm.
They
Of course.
know it and they see it, and so we're gonna get it. And I also have like a credit guarantee where it's like if you for some reason can't train or work out or just be on your routine for a month, 2 months at a time, whether you're sick, whether it's just some work stuff, whatever it may be, that is getting credited on like later into your thing. It's just stuff to make them feel like they're making the right decision, and then also
Mhm.
can like just make them feel like okay, I will get these results no matter what happens. If I hurt myself this year, if I get sick, I will get there, right? Like I
Mhm.
want them to feel that way.
Dude,
So
that's awesome. I think
yeah,
that's an awesome thing to call out. And what it shows is it shows one, it's a super powerful tool when you're closing a client. It shows that you genuinely care. It
dude,
shows that you
this is my
genuinely want to
purpose, man. This is
this
my
is it,
purpose, dude.
right?
This
That
is
you want to
everything to
see
me.
these people grow and become their best selves. And what's also interesting about that is that you know your clients and you know that these they may be on the beginning of their journey, and everybody who's been in the lifting space, you and me at this point, we can go to the gym, we can handle ourselves in the gym, we've been in there for years. But someone starting out on their journey, they're going to have like a start stop kind of situation going on where
Right.
maybe they fall off for 3 weeks, and it's just them getting out of that comfort zone, and they need a little bit of patience. And I
Yep.
think that's what the world could really benefit from, is patience with any new clients, and for coaching specifically. That's a beautiful thing, dude. That is amazing.
Yeah, you got to really stress to them too that this is not something that is some temporary thing. So it's like whatever we need to do to make it a sustainable, like easy thing for them is
Hmm.
absolutely key. And for those noobs, just to make it like to make them realize, like, listen, this will take time.
Hmm.
You've not done this before. This will take time, but you will get there. You will get
Hmm.
there because we're gonna make sure that this is so easy for you to maintain that the results will 100% come at some point as
Hmm.
long as you can stay consistent, right?
Being that positive coach, being that positive, person in their life,
Yeah,
that is what will then show them to fall in love with the process. And now they go on their journey, and it starts right there with them. And it's all
exactly.
because you're caring about the what is going on with these guys and in their lives, and you're actually doing it with them.
Right.
So Jack, awesome. Thank you. This has been a great call.
Hmm.
Guys, if you're looking at coaching, we can help you out in the Ludus. We got Jack coaching for us. So Jack, where can people find you?
Yeah, honestly, just hit me up on Instagram at Sorenson Fit. I'm on there all the time. Unfortunately, it's part of the game. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's just probably the quickest way to hit me up.
Okay.
And just message me on there, and we can chit chat. We gotta book a call or something.
Well, Jack, thank you very much. Guys, like, follow, share this podcast. If you found value in this, we want to get this into as many hands as we can, just so that we can grow the fitness space. We want to create the Harvard of fitness here at the Ludus, and it starts specifically with coaching and gym ownership. Thank you guys. Have a good day.